what we're going to do today is we're going to be looking at some graphs, okay? So we're going to be reminding ourselves what graphs are all about, what they show, all right, and how we can conclude from them, how we can analyse them, all right? Now, the reason we're going to do this is because we're going to be doing a practical later looking at how a chemical cools down. Today I was teaching my Year 8 class about change of state from liquid to solid. We were going to do an experiment and collect some data and then analyse that data. In the class today I had Laura, support teacher, as I have a number of students within the class who have specific learning difficulties. So let's just remind ourselves then what different shaped graphs show. And I've drawn one on the board for you here. Now, do you remember a while ago when we looked at insulating beakers? One important part of numeracy in science is students' ability to be able to understand and draw conclusions from graphs. In the starter activity, I use the access materials, getting to grips with graphs, which is useful for teaching numeracy in all subjects. Okay, then what we're going to do now is I'm going to draw another graph on the board, and this one is going to be slightly different. This is going to be my speed on my way to work this morning. And I'm going to ask you in pairs to work out what different stages mean. All right? Now, you can jot this down in the back of your books if you want to remind yourselves. Okay, so along the bottom, I'm going to put the time. All right, and up the side, I'm going to write the speed. Now, okay then, have a look. See if you can work out what that graph shows at A, what it shows at B, and what it shows at C. Okay, in pairs, and jot it down in the backs of your books if you want to.
What's happening? It's do you remember that word? Acceleration. So that's acceleration.
All right, guys, eyes to the front then. Eyes to the front. Now, hands up. What have we got showing at A? What is happening to my speed here? What's happening to my speed? Nathan?
The car is accelerating forward.
Okay. Good, well done. How can you tell then from that graph that my car's accelerating? Joe?
The line's going up to show it's going faster.
Excellent, well done. So the line is going up and my speed is increasing. What about B? What have I got going on at B? Megan?
Normal speed.
Normal speed.
Like
what do you mean by
a
normal?
bit slower.
A bit slower. Who agrees with Megan that here it's slower?
No.
Am I going slower here than I was here? Jason?
You're staying at the same speed.
Good, excellent. Here I'm going at the same speed. We say we're going at constant speed. The speed has stayed the same. You can tell that because the speed hasn't gone up. It stayed the same. Okay then. What about C? What is happening at C? Stevie?
You're going slower.
Good, well done. And I can tell I'm going slower because of the fact the graph is going down. Excellent, well done. All right, what we're going to do now, you're going to have another go at another graph, looking at the size of your telephone bills at home. And I want you to see if you can plot what shape graph you'll think you're going to get. So draw axes on your boards, and this time I want you to have a think about what shape graph you would get for the time you spend on the internet with how big the telephone bill is. So in pairs, discuss what shape graph you're going to get for this one here.
I think it starts halfway through because you've still got the telephone bill that you're on the phone with.
Okay, good, good. Why do you think it's going to be there?
Because you have to pay something.
Okay, good, yeah. You always have to pay something regardless of whether you're spending time or not. Excellent.
It keeps going up, doesn't it? The more you...
Okay, then pens down and let's look at the front. Who wants to come to the board and draw this shape on the board? Jason, do you want to come up? What shape graph are we going to get this time? Okay, good. Now, face the class and tell us why you think we got this shape graph this time.
Because you have to pay a certain amount of money to get onto the internet, and then the longer you're on the internet, the higher phone bill.
Okay, good, excellent, well done. Thank you, Jason.
I think that's a bit wrong because it goes along and it stables for a little bit, but that wouldn't happen. It would just go straight up.
Okay, do you want to come to the front and draw what you think the shape of the graph will be? There's a different colour pen so we can compare them. Okay? Okay, good. Now, tell us then, you've made a slight difference here. Can you see Jason's drawn it flat there and Stacey's just gone straight up? Why have you done that, Stacey?
Because here it's flat, and that means when you start on the internet you aren't paying anything, but here when you start it's just you're paying something straight away.
Okay, excellent, well done. Do you want to sit yourself down again, Stacey? What we're going to look at now is we're going to actually do an experiment. So we're going to collect some data for us to actually plot a graph to see what happens to the temperature of stearic acid as it changes state from being a liquid to a solid. Okay, so we're going to do the experiment, we're going to get some data and we're going to plot our graph and then analyse it, see what the actual graph shows. Now before we do our experiment, I want us to do some predicting. So in the backs of your books, I want you to draw a graph to show what you think it's going to look like. So what do you think is going to happen to the temperature of the stearic acid as it cools from being a liquid to being a solid?